Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace, and joining us in the lead up to Money 2020 US in the virtual studio is Alex Jimenez, Managing Principal, Financial Services Consulting at EPAM. So welcome, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on. And of course, we're speaking in the lead up to Money 2020 US, specifically around digital transformation, optimization and personalization, and AI. All areas which will be at the heart of a lot of discussions over the course of the event, and topics we'll discuss in more detail later on. But first, I'd like to reflect on the past year, because whilst 2023 played witness to a number of technological innovations, successful ones at that, it was undoubtedly a difficult year for retail and commercial banks. So bring us up to date. What are the problems that bank executives and the boards are facing right now? Let's start there.
Yeah, well, the first thing that has happened in the past 6 months, particularly, or year, particularly here in the US and Switzerland, is the issues that we had with a couple of banks and all about liquidity, deposits moving out quickly, based on sometimes seem capricious reasons of people posting things on social media, and suddenly, SVB is no longer a bank. So that has been a challenge, and that has also led a liquidity pinch for banks looking for deposits, which of course they need to do lending. At the same time, you have the central banks increasing rates. Inflation continued to be an issue, particularly in the US and the UK. And all of that in the middle of the continuing adoption of digital channels by consumers. We see something like 85% of banking consumers using mobile apps regularly, which is a huge jump from just a few years ago. At the same time, people are still going to the branches, and not just the older boomers, but we're seeing Gen Zers going to branches and actually wanting to go to branches as well. And the competition continues to heat up. We're not only seeing fintechs jumping into banking and continuing to change the market, but then we're also seeing big tech companies like Apple and Amazon and Google continuing to play in the space.
Well, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. And you highlighted some significant challenges and developments there. And I want to talk a bit about infrastructure shortcomings, because that's a challenge as well. How do you propose banks should address that issue as well?
Well, one of the things that we've heard in the past year is a lot of organizations have said, hey, we've been trying to do this digital transformation stuff, and it hasn't worked well. And now all of a sudden we have all these economic pressures. We perhaps need to pause, and we need to focus on cost optimization. My response to those banks has been, if that was not part of your digital transformation, you have been going around about digital transformation incorrectly. Obviously, trying to make the bank more efficient, which means cost optimization, revenue generation, and more importantly, customer focus. All of those things should have been driving your digital transformation all along, and you're modernizing your systems and your technology is all part of that. So you're not going to cut costs while you're throwing money to old systems just to keep them going, right? You need to modernize the infrastructure so you can take out cost. You can't have 6 different versions of the same capability. You got to look at how you can rationalize those, how you can collapse them and have a capability that does the same thing for various solutions in your bank. So a lot of that has been an issue. The other part is fintechs have turned, because they're having a similar pressure, have turned away from going directly to customers and really focusing on being partners to banks and being kind of the innovation for banks. So you got to be looking at how you can modernize your systems and at the same time partner with as many fintechs as you possibly can to yield the modernization that you should have been going after all along.
And of course, that's where EPAM comes in as well. Now, Alex, looking to the future then, what technologies should banks be looking to deploy then to succeed in the future?
Yeah, well, before I talk about specifically technologies, banks should be looking at what it is that they're trying to do first. Define their strategy, define their goals. Because I see a lot of organizations say, oh, we got to go do AI, but don't really have a plan why they're doing AI or what do they mean by that, right? You got to figure out what problems you're solving before you pick technology. Now, having said that, obviously, a lot of the buzz we're hearing is all about AI, particularly generative AI. But predictive AI that we've been using in banking for a long time for things like underwriting, fraud prevention, fraud authentication, authentication identification, those sort of things are continue to be important, continue to be driving efficiencies in banks. So it's not all about generative AI. There are other kinds of AI that we're already using that we need to expand on. As far as machine learning, large language models, natural language processing, all of that brings you to something like generative AI. Yes, that is important. That is going to help you do some specialization, help you do some recommendations for customers, provide better customer service. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out what it is that you want to do. And in some cases, it's not actually AI replacing humans. It's really AI augmenting humans. And so, think about being in a call center and as an agent, instead of you hunting around and trying to figure out how you're going to solve the problem of this very unique customer problem, you have an AI that's giving you the way to address it and may actually be listening to the voice of the customer, giving you some hints on how you can show your empathy and how you can do a better conversation with your customer. All of that being deployed as kind of a partner to an agent. Think about those sort of solutions that can help humanize further the customer experience. The other piece is cybersecurity. That's a challenge that is not getting any better. It's not going to get any easier. And as we start looking at cutting edge technologies like quantum computing, it will become an even bigger problem because things like encryptions today that we rely on, you won't be able to rely on with quantum computing because those are going to be super easy to game. So continue to invest in cybersecurity to manage risk is probably more important than anything else. And on top of all of that, or maybe underpinning all of that, is getting your data house in order. Banks talk about data being the gold behind, the new gold, but yet continue to struggle to just be able to gather insights from it, using the data for personalization and all the things that they want to do. And without data, your AI is going to be junk. Without data, your cybersecurity is going to have a problem. So you got to get that in order.
That's right. Some fascinating topics you covered there, all of which almost warrant a whole interview themselves. And some very good advice weaved in there as well, Alex. So I'm looking forward to hearing the discussions you'll have at Money 2020 and continuing those. But we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and have a wonderful event.
Thanks.